always give what you can, even if your allies draw lines in the sand. And dig, always dig a little deeper. Sometimes it's hard to be my brother's keeper. Love, so you let love in. Baby, I am home in the wake of your skin. And it's crazy how we wear a ceremony. Always be open to your path and your journey. Yes, she cradles my loneliness, a home in a forest nest. Universal test, feel the weight of my love. Put your hand on my chest and rest in the cradle of my arms. The battle that we face is a place where our scars come from. And to pick up the gun, my love, we are destined to teach these ones to be brave and never run away. Courage is birthed from the womb on the first light of day. Yeah, the day you were born, you came out perfect, never meant to be torn in silence. Never been so loud in the violence, never been so proud of our people. When we're fighting for a change, not afraid to lose it all, despite all the rage. We are animals, and we cannot be caged. Provoke us to fight, so we burn a little sage and write poetry. Wiser than the enemy will ever be. The minority and authority. Are you here to protect or arrest me? I can't tolerate the hate, and I'm losing sleep. Can't breathe, cause they're choking out a war in me. Immorality, yeah. Love letters to God. I wonder if she reads them, or if they get lost in the stars.
Tanzanina, Kanipuit, Wapiske, Mikasimi, Guanapio, many blessings to all my relations in the four directions. I am John Gonzalez, Standing White Eagle Featherman, Pimichikamak Cree Nation. I'm also a 30-year resident of Rhode Island and a Standing Rock Water Protector. And, you know, the camps are closed at Standing Rock, but I'm here to say that Standing Rock is everywhere. Standing Rock is in Secremic territory, Pimichikamak territory, Narragansett territory, Nipmuc territory. So, when we talk about the Scituate Reservoir, the Scituate Reservoir provides 60% of Rhode Islanders with potable drinking water. Not only 60% of Rhode Islanders, but municipalities in Massachusetts as well. The waters from the Scituate Reservoir are fed by 5 tributaries, more than that come down from Nipmuc territory. And these lands, these waters, you know, were undisturbed for thousands of years. And, you know, as Indigenous people, we demand free, prior, and informed consent for any type of development, any type of extraction for the water. You know, we believe that monetization of the water is immoral, and it's an exploitation of our children, as well as our natural resources.
I'm Christina Cabrera, colonizer name. Raised in Uruguay with Uruguayan and Cuban background and roots. Came to the United States 20 years ago, adopted by the Pocasset Wampanoag tribe of the Pokanoket Nation, and my traditional name is Chanchip, Deer Spirit. The colonizer Western culture has invaded our indigenous lands, has changed the diet, the nutrition, the sustenance, the sacred ceremonies, the lifestyle, the culture, the traditions of all of our ancestors and our current tribal communities just by taking over the land and the water. The Scituate Reservoir is no different, and it's even more important because from this reservoir we get 2/3 of the drinking water in the state of Rhode Island, and it's affecting culture and tradition and sacredness, but also the sustenance and livelihood of entire families. People don't realize what happens when you go without water, how many miles Indigenous communities have had to walk and still walk to get water on a daily basis, and it's taken for granted. But we cannot have a life-sustaining source be tied to strings, and those strings being profit. It cannot be tied to shareholders, it cannot be tied to corporations, and it cannot be tied to money making, to monetization, to commodification. to privatization, even if it's a lease. It has to be under the control and the monitoring of the people, to ensure that our families are not separated, to ensure that there's no longer gentrification, to ensure that there's no longer forced displacement, and that our cultures and our traditions and our values and the sacredness of our ceremonies remain intact without the disruption and the total destruction that this Western system and structure brings.
I'm Angel Lopez. I was born in Puerto Rico, moved to Rhode Island when I was 5, been a resident of Providence for 30 years. Handing control over water systems and the actual source of water, which is a situation that we were up against here in Providence, is a completely bad move, just given the current state of the world, right? We need to create people power around our own self-interest and not corporate interest. And that's what directly got me interested in helping out this campaign however I could. In August of 2018, the mayor announced that he was going forward with the plan to monetize the water supply. That was followed by a request for qualifications. So an initial bidding phase. The request for qualifications was opened. It closed on January 8th, and bidders were announced on January 9th. The sneaky thing around it was never announced to the public that this request for qualifications was open. People wouldn't even believe us. Even at the beginning of this month, March 30th, someone asked, is the request for qualifications real? The mayor's administration was hiding that. I'm sure it was a tactic of the water companies involved. They say, we're going to solve your problem. We're going to solve your budget issue. Let us take over your water system. It's a business model that these conglomerates have, and it's all around sales and marketing, and they never deliver to their promises. They end up creating bigger financial burdens for those municipalities that they take over their water sources. It's tough to get them out. They tie up battles in court. Veolia and Suez, they aim to go after the current laws that protect the water. The bills that were introduced at the state level, they're dismantling what protects us as residents, as people who depend on that water source. They aim to change the laws around the benefit of their own corporate interests and their own profits. Veolia, that I know, is still managing the wastewater treatment facility in Cranston. They've polluted, they've thrown wastewater, partially treated wastewater, sewage, into the streets, into the Patuxent River that they're practically on. So they just put it out the back door without treating it properly to cut costs. They say that they have the experience, they say they have the expertise, and they really don't. They mismanage things because they cut costs for profit, and then that impacts all of their residents.
We are facing an onslaught of corporations that are trying to privatize not only our water, but build dirty fracked gas power plants, as well as an LNG liquefaction facility. Here in Rhode Island, we are battling Invenergy, also known as the Clear River Energy Center, a project for the middle of the pristine woods in Burrillville, Rhode Island. It is an area with a very fragile biodiversity. They are trying to exploit our water from the Situate Reservoir because it takes millions and millions of gallons of water to cool the turbines of these dirty fracked gas power plants. We spent several months at the camps at Standing Rock back in 2016, 2017, where when a prayerful people stood against a militarized corporation. Many of my friends were injured. Many of my friends were disabled for life. And many of my friends are still in prison. I honor our youth. There's a lot of unsung heroes in Standing Rock. Young people from Pine Ridge, from reservations all across the country. And they rose to the occasion at a critical time. And I honored them that put their lives on the line, their bodies took bullets so the elders wouldn't have to. Standing Rock is everywhere. Wherever you are, wherever there is land, there are people that grew from this land. And this is a time for truth and reconciliation. This is a time for nations to be the initiators of their own futures. This is a time for self-determination.
This Water is Life campaign, land and water sovereignty, started with the Pokasit-Pokanoket Land Trust, and then it developed mostly as a coalition with different members and different individuals from different walks of life, but mostly centered in the Black, Indigenous, people of color community, BIPOC community, frontline communities, low-income communities.
My name is Eric Andrade. I live in New Bedford, Massachusetts, but my family is from Fox Point and East Providence by way of Cape Verde and Ireland. And I have got involved with water in previous capacities around first Hip Hop for Flint. There was a national calling for cities to organize around raising money for water filtration systems for the community of Flint, and then going out into Detroit and seeing water shutoffs in the community. The house I stayed in were the organizers for Detroit's Hip Hop for Flint. And the water situation in that community was dramatic because of privatization. A lot of the organizers were Black and Indigenous folks from around the country. There was a calling that was made in October of that year around Standing Rock, and we organized a concert in Standing Rock to fundraise for the Defense Fund for No DAPO movement. And the goal was to bring Standing Rock and Flint together to have a Water is Life Expo. And what we discovered was that there was a lot of money and influence that was put to destroy the success of that ability. There was a lot of Facebook marketing that was being done by the call of Tiger Swan, which was trying to prevent this from becoming more than just a Native issue. After that experience, the realization I had is that if that's their fear and that's what they're attacking is solidarity and unity, then that's also our strength and our value. And then coming back, went to the Water is Life open forum that they had at the Friends Meeting House in Providence, and then learning about this struggle that they were engaged in, and also all the information that they had. It was really empowering and heavy and scary to see that such a massive thing was happening and how quickly it was done. And it was also beautiful to see who was leading it and how they were leading it, and how they were presenting the information. So it was something I really wanted to get involved with.
Right now, the mayor of Providence, Mayor Lorza, because we've organized and we've worked with neighbors and residents of Providence and Rhode Island, he has pulled these bills that were in the State House that opened the door to full privatization. In spite of that, we're still working to preserve and conserve and protect water because there isn't enough protections in place. Tomorrow, somebody can come in and do things with water and as if it was private property or ownership of some people, when it really is something that is for all.
We ask that municipalities and state legislatures work with our indigenous communities with respect to any infrastructure or development which occurs in the state of Rhode Island. Because as I've said, to honor and protect the land is to honor and protect the people that grew from this land. That we must take our cues from those most heavily impacted communities, and there are no communities that are more heavily impacted than our indigenous communities.
sway. Take my hand, I won't lead you astray. We will not go down into the darkest of days. Grandma's
We invite residents and neighbors to join the campaign because it's ongoing, and the education also of our residents is ongoing. If you want to contact us, please contact us at Water is Life RI on Facebook page. You can also email us at waterisliferi@gmail.com.